Hello, Jared with Trading Supra, and I thought I'd take a moment to just talk about the importance of trading levels and how much of an advantage it can give you. I have on my screen here a couple of things. First of all, March NASDAQ futures, and then also we're looking at EdgeMinder, and EdgeMinder automatically displays areas where the market is likely to either have difficulty rising against or where it will likely find support. When I was quite young in trading, I remember I started out mainly focusing on price patterns. And then from price patterns, I remember a little time had gone by and I learned about pivot points. And I thought, wow, this is a game changer. And in a way it was. It taught me to anticipate moves. And so that was a good thing. It also taught me to recognize the importance of letting the market come to you and then making a move when the market had displayed a likelihood to cooperate or a chance to cooperate. And so EdgeMinder, I thought we'd just take a brief tour. Like I said, we've got March NASDAQ futures, and this is just any given day. You can send in requests if you want, and you can tell me, hey, what about this market on this day? And I can show you. I mean, this is all programmed, so you can just see the market react to these levels over and over again. And so NASDAQ on this day sold off, almost touched support. As you can see, got up, took a peek above resistance, sold off, and so some nice opportunities around this level. I'll just move to another market. We can look at the S&Ps for the same day. And this is a look at the E-mini S&P futures for January 14. And as we can see, came up, looked above resistance, and then kind of, as it got a little distance, quickly retreated and then followed through all the way back down to support. And so this is EdgeMinder for Tuesday, January 14 in E-mini S&P futures. It doesn't always impact the market and work perfectly. We'll move over to the same programmed information, the same algorithm for RTY March futures. We can see it displayed only resistance for this day, and we can see the market briefly tested, moved above, and then took off. And so it gives us not only a chance to anticipate a trade from the standpoint like we saw with the S&P and with NASDAQ, where the market really just reacted to those levels, but also we can see on a situation like this, the market pushed really against the resistance early on in the day. And then we can see the ease of movement that it was able to achieve. And so that helps us to orient ourselves to the market. And that was really the main advantage I found as I started on the path, like I'd mentioned earlier. Started trading price patterns. Okay, that's just recognizing something unique that the market's doing that may produce a given result. That's a good thing. Then adding to that pivot points where you're able to see, okay, let me now try to apply this and orient myself in some way to the current prevailing pressure in the market. And so now these are levels that I use every day. These are levels that I've refined over the years and have found to be highly useful, either as a point at which to trade, or in this case with RTY, a chance to recognize that the market has moved against resistance, had ease of movement in light of the recent break of resistance. And so that helps me to recognize what? It helps me to recognize that this is a bullish scenario. And so I'm not looking to jump in and pick this top and pick this top, and just give away money most of the day. But instead, it helps me to recognize that in view of this bullishness, what do I want to work with? I want to work with bullish structures. So new bullish information that the market elicits, that the market leaves behind. I want to orient myself to that and be a buyer more aggressively, or at least put being a seller out of my mind and put being a buyer in my mind, so that I'm not fighting the market first step. And that's a big one. From there, I can work off of whatever bullish information the market leaves behind. And it did leave behind some really good information on this day. Let's see. Let's look at another market. Dow futures. We can see here support and resistance are shown. And similar to RTY, market moved quickly against resistance, left behind bullish structures. And so when the market did finally really come undone, first of all, recognizing this break of resistance would very much so help resist the temptation to pick the top. Secondly, the bullish structures that were left behind, the support that exists based on this upward move, the market actually came right back to the support, and eventually, as you've probably heard, resistance becomes support. The market remembers, and I think you can see that. Well, I think we can all see that very easily right here. But the bullish information left behind became useful later on in the afternoon, and this pop here would be something that would be a buying opportunity for sure. Okay, so now looking back, whether it's a move where, or a scenario I should say, where the market moves and very much so reacts to the levels, like it did in the S&P and the NASDAQ, or if it's a scenario like it did today in the Russell and RTY, in either scenario, EdgeMinder gives a heads up as to areas where the market's likely to react, or heads up as to if the market has not reacted and has broken out like we see here, it gives you the heads up to resist fighting the market, to just stop doing all of that. And if you think back to some of your worst losses, some of your biggest losing days, or maybe your biggest losing trades, that's probably the category it would fall under. If you think back on those, it's probably a day where you fought the market, and lo and behold, the market won. I've done it. It's not fun, and the sooner you can learn how to avoid it, you're very much better off as a trader. You will stop blowing out your account or nearly gutting it. And so instead of losing money fighting the market, you can simply wait and then pick your spot. And that's really the advantage that EdgeMinder provides, is it helps you pick your spot, and it helps you do it each and every day. And so like I said in the beginning, if you want to send in a request and say, what about this market on this day, I'd be more than happy to do a video to show you what it's all about. And there will be more, and so we can look at another day and see again how EdgeMinder produces levels where the market's either likely to react, or produces levels that the market doesn't react to, but then it provides deep insight as to here's the way forward for today. Maybe you get a curveball. How do you react to it? And how quickly we can adapt really is the difference between a lesser prepared trader and a more professional trader. So hopefully this gives you just a nice preview of how to use EdgeMinder and how useful it can be. Everyone, trade safely. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.